Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Japa Circle. For anyone who's here for the first time, thank you very much for making the effort to come. The process we're engaged in, called Japa, is devotional chanting. And what lies behind the efficacy of this chanting is that the spiritual world is absolute, and God's name is the same as God himself. So, in the teachings about chanting, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that we have to cleanse the mirror of our minds, which means that we can't see ourselves when we misidentify ourselves as being a material entity. We've forgotten our eternal identity. And metaphorically, the mind is like a mirror. When it becomes dusty, it doesn't reflect our true image. But by chanting, we're purified. And he also compares it to a spiritual bath. We may not see the effects immediately, but they're there, just like if you go out in the sun without a hat. You may not immediately see that you're sunburned, but maybe the next day you'll see it. So the power of chanting is documented throughout the ancient wisdom literatures, the Srimad Bhāgavatam, the Bhagavad Gita, and so forth. And it's recommended as the prime method for attaining spiritual perfection in this age. So it's relatively simple. It just means to repeat the mantra and to be present while you're doing it. And if you can add a devotional element, which means if you can remember that I'm helpless, and please save me, please engage me in your service, is one of the moods of chanting, keeping a humble state of mind. Does anybody have any comments or questions about chanting? Does everyone have beads? Those who have come and know how to use them? Okay. So in the background you'll hear some other chanting. That's our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada. There's a recording, several recordings of him chanting. So we play that in the background just so we can feel his presence in the chanting. The main thing is to concentrate on your own chanting. Just chant loud enough so that you can hear yourself. And keep bringing your mind back to the beautiful names of Krishna, Haré Kṛṣṇa and Rama. And we'll chant for some time, and then we may have a short intermission to discuss any realizations or any questions that you have. And if you could put up the Panchatattva mantra. We'll say this together first before we start chanting Haré Kṛṣṇa. It's a gateway mantra. It's very helpful for chanting Haré Kṛṣṇa because this is the mantra that indicates Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who you see in the foreground, and his associates who came to bring the holy name of Krishna in the process of chanting. So it opens the gateway for us to chant properly. Let's try it. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinda. And we can start chanting Haré Kṛṣṇa. Haré Kṛṣṇa, Haré Kṛṣṇa, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Kṛṣṇa. As promised, a short intervention, just to appreciate an appreciation. It's very nice, all of us sitting together here purposefully and engaged in direct, purely devotional activity for Krishna, chanting his names, and continuing some of the statements that come from the exalted shastras or scriptures that talk about chanting Haré Kṛṣṇa. One of them mentions that the name of Krishna is like the philosopher's stone. The philosopher's stone is the stone that, when touched to anything common, becomes uncommon. For instance, could turn ordinary metal into gold. That's the idea behind a philosopher's stone. So the name of Krishna is mentioned in the Padma Purana, Nama Chintamani Krishnas. That the name of Krishna is Chintamani, that means philosopher's stone. So if we touch it with our tongue, if we touch it with our mind, then our mind becomes uncommonly enlightened. And so our tongue also develops a penchant for speaking about Krishna, becomes purified. It's a sense, and it becomes purified. And the process is simple, but it has to be applied carefully. Therefore, there's some additional guidance given in the Shastras. And one of them is that one should be attentive while chanting. And that requires a little practice because generally our attention is drawn deliberately in different directions, or that, I should say, there are many distractions, and if we get used to giving into those distractions and don't even notice it, when we do try to give attention in one place, then it may seem difficult or unnatural. Actually, it's quite natural for the mind to be focused, especially on Krishna. That's what it's meant for. And I was just curious if anybody has anything to report so far of your experience of walking in here, sitting down, chanting, hearing, not being attentive, being attentive. Reflections.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Whenever I walk into the temple during Mangalarti or any time we're chanting japa in the morning, it feels like almost transcendental vibes, and my mind gets completely focused towards Krishna. And the only thing I'm thinking about is Krishna or anything related to Krishna, his pastimes, or any of his devotees.
Yeah, coming into a transcendental atmosphere immediately brings us up. And Kapila Dev mentions this in the third canto of the Srimad Bhāgavatam, that even if a neophyte walks into this environment, then he or she becomes imperceptibly liberated. What else? Yes, we have Divya coming to us live from Atlanta. Go ahead, Divya.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. I have realized that my chanting is most potent when it's like early in the morning, and also later towards the day I kind of feel sleepy, and what I've tried recently is going for like a walk in a nature trail where there are just like woods and lake and creek, and I do a japa walk there, and I have found that helpful. I can just hear myself, nothing else around me, and it's scenic. So I wanted to ask you, is that okay?
Yeah, it's okay. In fact, it's very nice. Lately, we've been doing japa walks. Wherever I've gone, we do half the time in the temple, and then we go out for a walk. And it's refreshing, and also you see the sun coming up, you think of Krishna, you see flowers, you might see feel the contrast between being in the temple and being outside and seeing food wrappers on the ground from junk food and things like that. And you just, there is a lot in it. Prabhupada used to do japa walks, and they're very nice. Thank you, Divya. Keep up the great work. 2 more?
Hare Krishna. I think today is Srila Prabhupada's arrival into the United States for the first time on the Jaladuta, so I was just feeling grateful that he's given us this opportunity to chant, and also I felt sort of proud in a way that we're doing the right thing, what he would have wanted us to do.
Yeah, it's good to stay lined up. Even if you feel unqualified, if you walk in the footsteps of great souls. Bijare munio tagre bhagavan tamadhoksajam sattvam vishudam she maya kalpante inutaniha means you may be a nobody, but if you follow the footsteps of the great souls, then you're eligible for the same result. And I resonate with that idea. Doing the right thing feels good. And doing the wrong thing feels bad. Simple formula.
Haré Kṛṣṇa Maharaj, I was just thinking about that if your intention is clear and you make a deliberate attempt, then Krishna facilitate you to do the right thing. I was just appreciating that Chak Prabhu yesterday when he was in the aeroplane, he made a deliberate attempt to join our noon session yesterday. I was thinking, the circumstances may not be favorable, but if your intention is there, he made the attempt and he was there. It was so making that I need to have that, intention to be very, very clear and focused.
Way to go, Chuck. It was a big hit, watching him zoom in from the airplane. Okay, one more from this side and we'll finish. Yes, Malini, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. The point that you mentioned about the process is simple, but it has to be applied carefully. That made me think that we have, as you were mentioning about the touchstone, we have to study the value of the touchstone regularly. Otherwise, we may become negligent about the touchstone that we have with us. So apply carefully is very important. So thank you so much for sharing.
It is, especially over long periods of time. It's mentioned in the Bhāgavatam. Krishna says to Uddhava, sometimes sādhus live by the Gaṅgā, but then they take it for granted because it's in their backyard, and then they say, I'll go somewhere else to take bath. And so one has to study the mantra and remember how one is fortunate, and also stay in a humble state of mind. Be a beginner. Start over every day. Don't think, I know this, I've got this, I've done this before. But start over, I'm helpless, I don't know anything. And that gives us a way to reverentially approach the process of chanting Hare Kṛṣṇa, which is the same as being in Krishna's presence, invoking his presence. So we just have a few minutes until the curtains will magically open. So we'll end it here with a prayer. Dear Srila Prabhupada, dear Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Shri Panchatattva, if you so desire, please bless and empower everyone who joined the Japa circle today, that they may always feel encouraged in their chanting and hear the holy name with reverence and feel its sweetness. Thank you for considering our request. Om Tat Sat. Everyone agrees with this prayer in whole or in part. Please unmute and say Hare Kṛṣṇa.
Hare Kṛṣṇa.